Hello, agents, trainers, keepers, pilots, hunters, retired ballers, eighth wallers, and our beloved explorers and wayfinders. Welcome to episode 90 of the Wayspotters podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping you become a better wayfinder. Wayspotters is brought to you by the good people of the Pokémon Professor Network. Today is Friday, October the 6th. And with me, as always, is Jamal. How's it going, Jamal?
It's going good today. No internet issues so far. I went old school headphones, so we don't have the earbuds that could potentially mess things up. And other than that, I'm good. For you?
I'm good, man. I'm looking forward to the long weekend. Thanksgiving up here is on Monday.
Oh,
we're gonna have a big dinner.
Nice. I didn't know your Thanksgiving was this early. I thought they were closer together.
No, it's different up here because the frost shows up earlier than it does kind of in the US. So we do our Thanksgiving a little bit earlier.
Well, happy early Thanksgiving, man. That's exciting. What's on your menu?
Turkey stuffing, deviled eggs. I think some casserole. I don't know. My wife does all the cooking. Okay. Lots and lots of delicious things. That's all I know.
Yeah. I'll be vicariously living through you on Monday. That's awesome.
And it's great too because my wife is American, so we do American Thanksgiving too.
Oh, so you get two?
I get two Thanksgivings every year. Yes,
that's what's up. Yeah, that's right. Your wife's from New York.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, but she wants to live in Manitoba, which is weird.
Well, she was looking. I don't know if the want is a strong term.
Like I said, the Canadian North Dakota.
North Dakota. Yeah. Right. Yeah, it gets cold there.
Yeah, I bet it does.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
I think we got a little bit of news today, so let's queue up testing.
All right, let's see here.
And now, the latest Niantic news from the Wayspotters podcast, presented by the Pokémon Professor Network.
I still need to get my news hat.
Yeah, I know, right?
Two things. First thing, challenge is done, but we're going to dive way more into that later on in the show. Our whole topic is about the challenge this week. And the appeals backlog seems to be fairly clean. I read in the Wayfarer discussion Discord that they are in July. It's October. I don't have any outstanding appeals right now.
I believe I have one outstanding appeal. Let me look real quick. I'm doing this. I think I have one. But if it's caught up to July, that would be fantastic. If it's getting that
they're breezing through them.
That's good to know. Nope, I don't have. Oh, that's right. My appeal was granted. Yes. So we're good. Yes.
Yeah.
We're good.
So
we're good. Awesome.
If you have any that are older than like June or July, you might want to consider reaching out to Niantic because it might be stuck. So that's good news. They are flying through them.
That's great news. That is great.
And I haven't gotten an appeal back in a while that I kind of went, I don't agree with that. So
right. I have a couple of things that were recently not accepted. I look at them, the more I'm like, you know what? That doesn't need to be appealed. I'm just going to let that one go. So, I'm like, all right. Yeah. You're right. It's okay. So we're good.
Yeah. One of those gray area things. Like, try it.
It was my little free library that, I'm going to stand on that hill and get shot down, that it's not, PRP, but everybody else besides me thinks it. So I'm just going to let it go. So they think it's private residence. I don't. We'll let it go. I talked to the homeowner. The homeowner was like, yeah, I would actually love something right here, but it's not going to happen. So not going to be sour about it.
That's one of those unfortunate gray areas that you try, you win, you lose, you lose.
Exactly.
All right, let's jump into topic number 1 this week. We're going to debrief the Wayfarer challenge. So
let's get into it. I'm really excited to talk about this. First of all, before you jump into it, the Wayfarer challenge was excellent. I just want to, tell you did a great job with the structure of it. We're going to kind of break down each part of it, but I love challenges, and I'm glad that you've debunked it, that we're going to do one about every 94 to 104 days. You kind of figure that out. So let's start the clock now. So go ahead. Let's get on with topic number 1.
At some point today, I'll do the math and figure out when the next one will be, and then we'll come back and see how right I was or how close I was. All right. So they originally were like, hey guys, tier 3, 90,000, and then we speculated that wasn't going to be enough, and we were right.
We were
They added a tier 4 at 145,000, and we crushed it. They finished with 151,459 resolutions,
which is amazing when you think about it. That number is just bananas.
It's bananas.
Crazy. Yeah.
Especially considering, and we'll get to it in a second, the number of the people who participated.
Right. Now, what was your final number?
522. Where did you end up?
I ended up at 512. I saw some people saying that the counter was rolling 1 or 2 back, and I'm like, I'm going to do a few extra just to be on the safe side. But Chris, I feel pretty good. I said 2 shows ago I was 72, 73, 74 a day, and I stuck to it. I didn't overextend. There are some people that put up some like Buck Rogers numbers. I said, I'm going to do 74 a day, and I'm not going to get burned out. I'm not going to get frustrated. I'm going to do 74 a day, and that's going to get me where I need to be, and I did it.
Yep. Yeah, I was about the same thing. I had some issues getting last week's episode exported on my laptop, so I spent like a day and a half trying to figure that out. So I had to do, I think, 200 a day in the last couple of days to get to 500. But
last week's show was really
taught me
good,
something,
but
we're gonna go over. We had a lot of issues.
It was really good.
Yeah.
We had both audio and video issues, but yeah, it taught us some stuff. So go ahead.
Yes, it did. It taught me something this week. When I was doing those 200 a day, it wasn't that bad. I didn't think it was that bad. So we'll go over the top 10 in a little bit, but I want to push for the top 10 next time.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna push myself and try and get into the top 10 next time.
All right, I want to see that. I want to see that.
Yes, yeah, me too. So you mentioned the counter. So the counter was doing some funky things, and Niantic was alerted pretty early on, and they were investigating it, I'm pretty sure, throughout the whole challenge, and they put a couple of fixes in. And Tintino posted in the forums, thanks again for all your participation. As you may see, our individual counter had some issues during the challenge that we were investigating throughout. The team implemented some changes to the counter in an attempt to fix it, and that helped decrease the discrepancy for most participants. We will be looking into those discrepancies and aligning them to the tier levels. So hopefully they managed to go through, because I know there's a lot of people out there who went and did 50, and then that was it.
Right.
And they were like, I just want the community rewards. I don't want to go hard, right? So I would really hate for someone to have gotten to 50 and then stopped and never looked at it again. And then they kind of went, boop, 49. And now they don't get anything, right? So that would be kind of terrible. Stink.
Yeah.
So hopefully
I think Niantic will do the right thing there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, Chris. Well, let me go over the final challenge stats, and let's take a look at these numbers here. So, final challenge stats: total resolve nominations, like Chris said, 101,459. Now, there was a total of 44,189 explorers that participated. That is a absolutely massive number. 44,189 participants. That's great. Now, the community reward recipients, so there's going to be 1,157 explorers and wayfinders, Chris, that are going to get community rewards. That's great. Means people really push past that number. Now, I want to break this down for you: tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 for the individual rewards. So, tier 1, the tier 1 rewards recipients is 22,573 individual people. Tier 2 is going to break down to 868 people. So remember, tier 1 was the 100. Tier 2 was the 250. And now tier 3, which was the minimum of 500, there's 387 people that hit at least tier 3, which was 500 nominations. That's where you and I came in. So what that tells me, Chris, is that there was a lot of heavy lifting by the people in that tier 3 category. So 37,032 people who participated didn't get to 50 reviews. Now, I don't know if they just didn't get to reviews or if they had issues with the counter. We'll find all that out. But it'll be interesting to see if that number shifts with their adjustments when they're doing with their overall counter. So that will be very, very interesting to see. But I do want to say tip of the cap to the 44,189 people who participated. We know there's just under 50,000 people who are paying attention, and that's a number that makes me very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially considering all the noise that's happened lately.
Yeah.
It was nice to see that there was that many people who logged in and were participating.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. It was great. I think we did a really good job. There's a lot of people who are participating. There's a lot of people who are going to get some really nice rewards.
Yep. I've already got my 5 upgrades spent. I was looking through my list last night. I'm like, I'm upgrading this. I'm upgrading this. I'm upgrading this. Yeah, but I might wait to use my upgrades because I think everybody's going to use their upgrades as soon as they get them. Wait until everybody's done that, then use my upgrades, and then they'll go through quicker. Because if everybody upgrades everything at the same time, it's all going to feel just like the backlog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of my thought. So, all right. So we're going to go over the top 10, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the top 10. And so this changed. They originally posted it, and then they took it down, and then it just said update coming in the blog post for a little bit, and then they posted this one. So I think that they were doing some of their adjusting based on the counters and stuff. So they posted this out. So I'm gonna read out the top 10 because I think that these people need some special recognition for just how many challenge reviews that they did. Trollfarer, number 1. Mega Trainer Red, number 2. Number 3 was Daily Chat. Number 4 was Andy. Number 5 was AAA 4. Number 6 was Hyper Kubo. Number 7 was 4SQA. Number 8 was Stop Sell No Exist. That's a fantastic username. I love it.
Great.
Number 9, Lady of Swan Lake, and number 10, Aquablast 64. So Trollfarer did 7,300 challenge reviews.
Wait a minute. Remember to say friend of the show, Trollfarer. We know
Trollfarer. Yes. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And also friend of the show, Lady of Swan Lake, and friend of the show, Aquablast 64.
Yes. Yeah. 7,300 challenge reviews. That's insane.
That's crazy.
That's like 1,000. That's more than 1,000 a day.
More than 1,000 a day. Yeah, that's dedication. Is that what you're going for next time, Chris?
That I think I might have to take the whole week off to get to 1,000.
Hey, I'm taking PTO. I got a review from Wayspotters. Yeah,
I don't think I'd be able to sell my wife on that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm taking a week's vacation to set up my laptop. No.
Well, we also know Aquablast did. Let the world know that they did 2,063, and that was number 10. So we know what the top is, and we know what the floor is. And little side note, Chris had a conversation before we recorded with Aquablast 64, and they are working on some stuff that is near and dear to your heart. I don't want to spoil it, but we may have them as a guest on the show at some point once that project is done, or maybe have them send in a report or something, but it's interesting. So we love when people reach out to us and give us ideas. So if you want to do a project with us or come on the show, let us know. We'll be happy to have you on. But Aquablast, when you hear this, we're not spoiling the surprise. So we're looking forward to working on it. And I know your message this morning made Chris smile because it's near and dear to his heart.
Yes, I saw it briefly. I haven't had a chance to read through it yet, but I'm excited for that one. All right. So 20, I think Lady of Swan Lake said that they did 2,200, I think. So 910 is about 2,200.
Yeah.
That's the goal for next challenge. All right. So let's break down the timeline of this challenge a little bit, because I think it kind of went off the rails in a good way. And I wanted to take a brief few minutes to talk about how this all played out and how we got where we are.
I think the chronology is important, so let's hear it.
Yeah. So the title of the show is "How Did We End Up in Austria?" this. Oh, because at one point I was getting Austrian reviews, and I was like, wait a minute. I don't remember listening to them announce this.
Yeah.
So we started the challenge at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific on the 27th. And like we were at 10K within the first few hours. Like I remember logging in finally at work at like 5-ish, and we were at like $5,000, and I was just like, okay,
You're like,
we're gonna blow through 90K.
Right.
Like the first couple
It's
of
gonna
days.
be easy.
They had issues pretty early with people not getting reviews from the challenge.
Right.
So that told me that there was like they were just flying through them.
Right.
So like at noon the next day, they were just like, okay, so we're done. We got it. We don't start releasing French nominations. They were like,
got to get
a
this
day
early.
early. They were supposed to do that on the 29th. They had to release them on the 28th. And then at 3 o'clock on the 29th, they were like, okay, we're going to Germany now. Everybody get on the train. The train's going to Germany. And I was like, that's 3 days early. And we're already in the journey. Like, we're in trouble. Like, if this is the case, that we're in trouble. And credit to the ambassadors and the Wayfarer team. And I want to emphasize the ambassadors here for working together to kind of say, listen, we're not going to get to the end of this challenge with just one extra country or just 2 extra countries.
We're going to need to involve more of the continent.
Yeah. We're going to need some pretty heavy thinking here, right? So at 1 p.m. on the 30th, they announced that the UK, Denmark, and Sweden were coming aboard the challenge, which is I thought was fantastic, because the last time they were like, hey, we're just going to do, this, and then okay, now we're doing this, and okay, now we're doing this, right? They were like, no, here's 3 countries, so get us through the weekend.
Yep. Which I love. I love the flexibility and dexterity. I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was fantastic. And they released a couple other countries in the mix there, and I couldn't find if they said it on Twitter, or even if they did. I think at one point they were just kind of like, here's some more countries.
Exactly. I don't think they specified all the countries that was there.
We were done the first tier on October 1st. At some point on October 1st, we cleared that first tier. And then October 2nd, they brought on Spain and then announced the 4th tier of awards, which I was super happy to see them do, because we were pretty far away from 90K.
Right. Yeah. So when that 4th tier came on, I was like, oh, wow. I was interested to see it. I know that some of the English people were a little bit salty that they thought that they got nerfed. But I think overall they did a good job of kind of realizing where we were and then saying, okay, if we want a 4th tier, what do we need to do to put a little spice into it to get people to keep reviewing? Because I think at that point, the hardcores were over 500. Some people were going for the top 10, but I think the hardcores were probably over 500 at that time. And they're like, okay, we're top 3. I'm not gaining anything else. And then when they announced top tier 4, it's like, oh, if I keep going, we can get this, and these rewards are even better.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think they picked a number, like a target that was far enough from where we were to encourage people to kind of push that a little extra, because we didn't finish too far ahead or too far over tier 4, right? So I think it was just enough of a push. That number was kind of like they hit the sweet spot with that one.
Right. Because we finished at 151. So, they picked a good number, and we were able to get over it. Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if they give us a 4th tier right off the hop next year. Right.
That will be interesting, because then if we go through the 4th tier, will they have a 5th tier ready to go? Really, because I mean, a lot of us, there's a lot of people in our community that aren't super competitive, and that's why they kind of like Wayfarer. It's not competitive. But there are a lot of us that are super competitive, and it's like the last challenge when I didn't hit the top because I was a big old slacker. I was really mad at myself. So I said, this time I'm getting it. I'm like out to get it. And then I really wanted to get all of our numbers. So I think there's enough people out there that whatever they put out as the top line, there's people that are going to go for it. If we just look at it just on this, you're planning to do at least 1,500 more reviews next time than you did this time, right? And I'm sure there's other people that are like, hey, I want to be recognized in the top 10, so I'm going to do 1,000 more than I did this time. And then you have the people in the top 10 going, you're not going to beat me, kid. So I'm going to do 800 more than I did last time. So, and then as we continue to onboard new Wayfinders, we're going to have more than 44,000 people that are going to participate. So I can see them needing another tier regardless of what they announce.
Yeah, I completely agree. But it'll be interesting because you make a good point there. Are they going to just give us that target right off the hop, or are they going to just kind of slide it to us when we break through top 3 or the tier 3? Because, and we'll talk about this in a second, they're going to need to pick a bigger area, I think, next time.
Ooh, you're foreshadowing here, sir. Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Because like October 3rd, they released, it was Italy, France, Germany, the UK, Denmark, Sweden, Austria, Switzerland, and Spain. So this challenge started with 3 countries and ended with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, the UK is technically 4 countries?
Yeah.
There's like 13 countries there, right?
Yep. They're gonna need what did they say in Jaws? I think we're gonna need a bigger boat.
We're gonna need a bigger boat. I'm gonna find a Jaws reference for the thumbnail for YouTube.
Dang, I think I should have waited and used that next week for our back and forth with the movie lyric. Dang it! I should.
Yeah, we can do it.
Okay. Well, anyways, yeah, we might do that next week. I think I need a bigger boat. Okay. All right. Let's keep rolling.
So let's talk briefly about what we think went well, what we think didn't go so well. First of all, I think we need to address the elephant in the room, and I just mentioned it. 3 countries was not enough, and we called that too. Like we talked about it when we did our.
Yep, we did
a little bit of a prep, right? We found out very quickly that the bouncing blight ship bubble, and I will say this: the Wayfarer team and the ambassadors did a fantastic job kind of mitigating that and saying, listen, we're not going to go through the same problems we had last time. I didn't notice any blips with the counter necessarily when it switched countries like we had last time. I think when they
I didn't either.
The big problem they had last time was when they switched early, I don't think they switched the counters early. Right, so I think they did that this time. I think the problems with the counters was related to something else. But I mean, I thought it was like the counter. Other than the counter being glitchy, I think this was damn near flawless.
Yeah. Now the counter being glitchy, like I said, the problem I had is when I switched from desktop to mobile and then back to desktop, it would be off by 1 or 2. People can find flaws with anything, right? You can find flaws with anything. And the early on day 1, day 2, right? The problems that I personally saw, and I messaged you about this. I'm like, I'm not seeing any challenge nominations. I'm only seeing stuff from my area. And I'm like, I'm okay with that because my area's got a huge backlog. So if they're serving up people in my area, things from my area, great. We'll get some resolutions here. But, I was really trying to stay on that 74/7 a day. So it seemed like after day 1, day 2, that was fixed. The rest of the time, I didn't see hardly any local nominations, like none. Like I was going through 50, 60, and I didn't see any from my area. They were all from the challenges. So I was like, wow, they really like kind of dialed that in and nailed it.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was pretty early. Like I was on my way to work when you were having your issues. And then by the time I managed to get logged in at work and start doing reviews, they had fixed it. So it was fairly quick, right? But there was that gap in there where I don't think anybody was getting anything.
I turned into like a nervous Nancy. I'm like, oh boy, what's going on? What's going on? Because remember the day that the challenge launched, I like booked time in my calendar at work that I was like doing some focus time, and I like went into a conference room and I said, I've got 35 minutes of free time and I'm going to do it. And then I didn't see anything. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I booked this time on my calendar over a week ago.
Exactly. Yeah. I kind of closed my door at work a couple of times and was like, all right, I need to focus on this. And it was not work, but it was challenge because I wanted to get my 74 day. I wanted to make sure I got to 500. And I'm glad that I took that time because I almost didn't make it.
Well, Chris, before on to the next topic, I want to kind of put the word out to the community, everybody listening to this on audio or watching on YouTube. If you encountered any issues with the challenge, let us know. We'd be interested to hear about it and talk about it, or things that went well. I don't always want to focus on the negative. Tell us what went well, what you liked about this. Give us some feedback that we can pass on to Niantic of things that you liked about the challenge that you want them to see more of. At work, we always talk about stop, start, continue. I don't know if you guys kind of have that, red, yellow, green. And it's like, these are the things we want you to stop doing. These are the things we want you to start doing. And these are the things we want you to continue to do. I'd like to focus on the yellow, that continue and start, because I think Niantic's doing a lot of things right. So if there's things that you want Niantic to hear about, let us know. Go on socials, go on the forum. Doesn't have to be through us. But I think what is going to help Niantic is not only hearing from the ambassadors who are doing a fantastic job of feedback, but hearing from the 44,000 people or the 387 people who got level 3, hearing from those people on what Niantic can do better to help people do more. And one of the things I'd really be interested to hear is if you got level 1 rewards, what would push you to do level 2 next time or level 3 next time? So I'd be interested in hearing that.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Let us know. We love community feedback.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I think it went well. I think I was overall 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I'd agree with that. Yeah. It would. Now, one of the things, because you know me, I'm a data guy. I would love, and I know they would never do this for a lot of different reasons, but I would love to know for them to tell us the approximate size of the backlog. Hey, we're going to do France, Germany, and Spain. And the reason we're doing that is their average backlog is 6 months, and it's a number. But they have things from December of 22. And so, and to kind of give us that so we kind of have an idea of what we're working through. Now, of course, that's their proprietary numbers, but just me as kind of a data guy, I'd like to know how we're progressing. Okay, just like they said with the appeals, we're back to July. Hey guys, in the first 2 hours of the challenge, the oldest backlog originally was December 22. We're up to March of 23 now. Keep going. We're almost finished. Now we're going to switch countries. We're going to go back to January of 23. Something along those lines. And I think it would help them identify maybe pockets that are getting left behind or missed.
Yeah. I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, I wonder if you could take the areas of the countries that we did, take the nominations that we resolved in the week, and then kind of like math out how many were unresolved on the rest of the world, right?
Yep.
I think that would be a lot of math, and I don't know if I'm down for trying to figure that out. But
you don't know if you want to start another spreadsheet?
Oh, yeah, right. I'd be very curious to see what area has the most like backlog by volume and what kind of the oldest unresolved nomination is.
Right. And the reason I say that, we'll get to this in topic number 2. I'm kind of excited for it. But the reason I say that, Chris, is I think that the areas with the largest backlog, now there's 2 things to say. Be the area with the smallest amount of reviewers or the area with the largest number of nominators.
Right.
So if an area has a lot of nominators and not a lot of reviewers, that's kind of the perfect storm. Like there's people who are super active in Wayfarer. They're taking pictures and writing descriptions, and then they're just kind of sitting there because there's no reviewers. So it kind of, there's reasons for the backlog, and I would love to be able to dig into that and kind of understand that a little more.
Yeah. And I think that Niantic kind of needs to take a look at their algorithms too, and how things are pushed out, because like especially in your area, right? You have that bridge that you were talking about, that the one side of the bridge you get like nominations back in a week or 2 or a month, but on your side you're waiting
right
like almost a year, right? I think you're coming up on a year for your
on a year. And like I said, it coincides with that big cell. When you look at the Ingress map, it's literally that cell, and it's and it's the other. So yeah, it's a real thing, people. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
Now that you have to play a pity party for me, but play a pity party for me. And I think you have some examples of that coming up, right, Chris?
I do. So let's talk about topic number 2, where we think, and this is our opinion, me and you,
yes,
where the next challenge should be. North America.
North America. Yes, 100% North America.
And I can come at this very unselfishly because I don't need it, but I have a lot of friends who do, right? So your oldest nomination is December of 22, right?
Yes, I have several from December of 22.
Which is wrong. It's flat out wrong.
Yes.
Justin, host of Special Conditions, his oldest nomination is August 2022.
He just had a birthday.
Yeah. So I put out on Twitter and I posted in a couple of the Discords, and I think I put it in the forum too. I might not have. As to say, if you live in North America, give me your oldest nomination, right? I got a lot of response. I got a lot of people who were just like angrily responded to me. And then there was a couple people that are just like, oh, mine's not so bad. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Ambassador and friend of the show, Sea Princess, September 2022.
And just remember, Sea Princess is in the southeastern United States. She's near me, about 3 hours south of me.
Yep. I also posted in the Niantic Wayfarer Reviewers and Nominators Facebook group. That's where else I posted this. So Kevin, he lives in Quebec. That's near me. October 2022. John from the same Facebook group. His is March 2023. He's from Washington State. The oldest one I saw was Gen X Beebs on Twitter. He's from Charlotte. His oldest is June 2022.
Shall I say more? I say more?
Do we see the pattern here?
Yeah.
Adam, Michigan, July 2022. Kayla, St. Louis, September 2022. Jane, Indianapolis, July 2022. You could probably do one of those cinematic fade outs while I'm talking and then like fade back in and be like 30 minutes later.
Yeah. And you're like, so-and-so, Michigan, 2022. Yeah.
Yeah. I could go on and on here, but I think, you know what, Jamal, just let him have it.
Here's the deal. North America is where it's got to be. Either Canada, United States. Here's my idea, Chris. And this is not a rant, but this is my idea. We've got distinct geographical areas in the United States, and we can break it up. It can be West Coast, it can be Midwest, it can be Northeast, and it can be Southeast, right? And then you Texas, because Texas is their own little area. But you could, just like we did for the challenge where you had England one day and France one day, you can do the Northwest part of the country, the Southeast part of the country, and bring we should definitely start with North Carolina, or at least the Southeast. Now, everybody in every part of the country can violin and have their own little sad story. But I think just from the anecdotal feedback that we received from X or Twitter or whatever we're calling it, there is a big backlog in North America, North Carolina, or North America, USA, and Canada. And for my nomination to go through. So, you know, I'm saying it now. Whoever's listening, we need a challenge in North America. We need it.
Yeah, we do. We absolutely do. And I understand the reluctance on Niantic's part to not do a North American challenge, considering it is a North American centric company and they don't want to seem, but like we did Indonesia, we've done Europe essentially. You've done the whole continent of Europe basically.
We did India.
India had one in 2021.
Yeah.
I think it's time, right?
Yeah.
Like just from the feedback that I got, and I could probably spend a week going through that thread and reposting it and getting more examples. And I could do probably like a half-hour show of just me reading more than year-old
Yeah.
nomination, and it's not like people are just like, oh, I've gotten one or two. Like Sarah Amanda has like a ton of,
and she's in
pending
the
nominations.
southeastern United States near me also. She's also about 3 hours from me.
Yep. Yeah. And there are, there's probably, you can probably find this amount of backlog basically everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not so much in Europe, considering we just had a challenge there. So
Right.
most of the people there are probably content. But I'd be curious to see what the algorithm kind of did if it left out any areas in Europe. But that's a whole other conversation.
Right.
But
and then other areas, Chris, that I think probably need some love. So I think the continent of Australia just needs some Niantic love in general. They need a Safari Zone. They need a Go Fest. They need a Wayfarer Challenge. Like there's and I feel connected to Australia because season 1 Lachlan was the host, and I interacted with a lot of people from Australia, a lot of passionate Pokemon Go, a lot of passionate Ingress, a lot of passionate Wayfarer people, and that continent has been so overlooked. Like it's almost criminal that they haven't had something in Australia. So I would even say, hey, do Australia before you do the US or the North America. Do North America, but give Australia their flowers, include New Zealand, all the countries over there in the APAC. And let's just remember, APAC also gets hosed every time something new drops in Pokemon Go. It's always broken in APAC.
Yeah.
We need to throw them a bone. We need it. So everybody who's listening, and we have a channel in our Patreon Discord called Ask an Australian. So flood that channel because Australia needs some love.
Yes, they do. 100%. They do get hosed by the Pogo bugs way more than anybody else does. I feel bad for them. And my GoHub GoFest 2024 speculation article, I said they need something. Niantic needs to give them some love. Give them a GoFest. Exactly. I know it's not in Japan, but it's close. So
more than just Michael Steranka flying down to visit Zoe. They need like something substantive down there. So I would love to see a Safari Zone in Australia. Pick a country. I'm not privy to any one of them. And then have the Wayfarer Challenge going at the same time as Safari Zone. I don't know. Double it up. You know what I mean? I think that would be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
I think Taiwan's been on the vote twice and lost both times. So they've been passed up a couple of times.
Yeah, they sure have.
That kind of tells me that they probably need it. And they just haven't gotten the love yet. So we'll see kind of what happens with the next one. If they do a vote again, if it loses a third time, do they just kind of say, all right, screw you guys, we're going to Taiwan anyway.
We're going to Taiwan
what
anyway.
Does that look like?
Yeah.
I'm not big on my geography. I'm going to pull up a map of Taiwan right now because I want to kind of see what
Taiwan is not too far from Hong Kong. And remember, we love Hong Kong. Absolutely.
Hong Kong. Hong Kong loves us.
Hong Kong loves us. Hong Kong, you guys are fantastic. Like every week when we drop the show, like people in Hong Kong are like tuning in like as soon as it drops. And I'm like, I don't know one person in Hong Kong. I honestly don't know one person in Hong Kong, but you guys know us and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so they could do like a Taiwan, South Korea, Japan, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, the Philippines. There's a lot of countries in that kind of area that they could kind of bang out.
Now, remember, I really enjoyed Indonesia. I enjoyed the heck out of that. That was really cool. I got to see a lot of stuff. And when we did a couple of shows talking about that, there was a lot of things that I would have marked as coal that I really educated myself on. And they were really cool way spots. I don't know if I'll ever get to Indonesia. Hopefully that part of the country is on my bucket list. So we'll see. But if I do ever get over there, I know what I'm going to spend. My buddy, who's also named Chris. I have a lot of Chris's in my life, if you haven't noticed. But my buddy, whose name is Chris, he lives in Portland. His fiance lives in I'm going to get this wrong. She lives in Thailand. And he is trying to. He went over there. They were going to get married. Something happened. I'm probably saying way too much about his personal life. He had to come back. She couldn't come back. He's trying to get her back over here. He wants to go back to Thailand to marry her, and he wants me to come over there and be one of his groomsmen. And I'm like, yeah. Then I looked at flights, and they're like $8,000, and I'm like, ooh. So I don't know. But if I go over there, I'll spend stuff and I'll send you presents. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, they could do like a boat themed challenge. Ooh. Like they just did a train. They can, you start in Taiwan, you can go down to the Philippines, hit Vietnam, and then go down to Singapore, maybe Papua New Guinea, and then maybe you finish off your challenge in Australia.
I see what you did there.
Right.
And New Zealand. Don't forget New Zealand.
And New Zealand. Yes, Australia and New Zealand. Yep.
We love the Aussies and the Kiwis equally. And Tasmania.
Yes. Yep. Oh, I love Tasmania. Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
And then and then the challenge after that, we do North America.
Yes. Yeah, we just kind of cruise on up, hit Los Angeles, do California and the Northwest, go over to the Midwest, skip over Texas. No, I'm kidding. I like to say that about Texas. Hit the Midwest, go to the Southeast, go up to the Northeast, and then hit Canada, right? And then work your way back over, all the way over the Great Plains to get back over to Vancouver. Then you're done. Then go up to Alaska. I don't know.
They could call that the road trip challenge.
The road trip challenge.
Train,
I love that. Boat,
car, all the modes of transportation.
Planes, trains, and automobiles.
That's all.
I think I have something for next week now. I got it. Yeah. Yes. All right.
I think that's good. I think we've covered that enough. I think the challenge went well. I'm excited to see in 104 days where the next challenge will be.
Yes, either North America or Australia.
I'm going to stall while I do the math here real quick. It'll be interesting to see how the next challenge goes.
How it goes. I think the next challenge, we've had 3 challenges where they've kind of had to make a change mid-challenge, and I think they've gotten better, right? I think they've figured out, like, hey, if blank starts to hit the fan, this is what we do. We don't end the challenge early. We pull in these other areas and we say, hey, we're going to add this, we're going to do this. And the Wayfarers are flexible enough to say, okay, all right, let me change my Google Translate from German to French and from French to Swiss. When it went to Switzerland, I was all kinds of messed up. I'm like, hold on a second here. I'm like, I wasn't prepared for Switzerland. I was like, I'm all on this stuff. And then all of a sudden I see this and I'm like, and then we had some Norwegian in there. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, I'm not Chris. I'm not reading all these languages. So it was enjoyable, though.
Yes, it was. I thought I had a really good time with this one. And it was nice to see the wide variety that we got. So I think the next challenge, I think what will happen with is they'll give us like the small subset of countries or whatever. Mm-hmm. But in the background, they will, all right, when we exhaust these ones,
yes,
these are the countries we'll have kind of set up to just click a button and there you go. And we'll have them ready to go, loaded in the gun, ready to fire out, right?
What I'm going to do tomorrow, I was going through my nomination list and I looked and there's one that like the picture is just not what I want it to be. So I'm going to take it out because it's still in queue. Of course it's still in queue, right? Let's not go there. And I'm going to resubmit it with a better picture because the picture I have now is okay, but I kind of took the picture really quick and I'm like, all right, I'm going to fix it. I'm going to manifest that we're going to have a North American challenge and we're going to have something in the Southeast and everyone's going to see this picture and I want it to be good. So I'm going to go and fix that tomorrow morning.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I predict, and here's my prediction.
All right,
next challenge will start January 17th, 2024.
Ooh, you put this out on the interwebs and YouTube and Spotify. So you're married to that date now.
I am. Yep. Me and my family do a snow prediction every year.
Oh,
we predict, and we're actually going to do it pretty soon, what the first day that the snow falls here, where it sticks. Like it has to stick for a couple of hours, right?
Like a measurable amount, like at the airport. Right. Yeah,
like a measurable amount. So we do that every year. So I am very comfortable making these kind of predictions. And then on January 17th, if we are not talking about another challenge, then I was wrong.
So let me get this straight. I want to make sure we go on record. So are you saying January 17th they had to have announced something, or did it have to start by January 17th?
I predict it's going to start January 17th.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That is a little over 100 days
right.
From...
I can see Tintino now going, let's launch this on the 18th. He goes, I'm going to get Chris. We're going to launch this on the 18th.
If they launch this on the 18th, we will know it was because I made the prediction it was the 7th.
Before we go to break, can I tell you a little something about snow that you might,
Yes.
I think I might have told you this like offline, but not on the podcast. So in the history of record keeping, as far as weather goes, 2022 was the first year Charlotte, North Carolina did not get any measurable snow in the history of them keeping records.
Wow.
We don't get a lot of snow here, and I've only lived here since 2007. 2007 is when I moved to Charlotte, so a little over 16 years ago. But 2022 was the first year of no measurable snowfall at the Charlotte airport. Fun fact for you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I am, right before we cut to break, for our YouTube viewers, I'm going to share a video that I sent Ken and our little admin chat. Remember last year that a massive snowstorm that we got?
Yes.
I took a little video and I sent it to them. I'm like, this is what I deal with. I'm going to clip that in right before the dad jokes for our YouTube viewers. So if you're not watching, if you're listening to this on audio, flip over to the YouTube.
Another great reason to go back and rewatch it on YouTube.
And yes, and enjoy the massive snowstorm that I was shoveling at 1 a.m. to try and get my car into the driveway. So on that note, let's run to break. We're going to play the dad jokes for the audio listeners, and then a snowstorm, and then the dad jokes for our YouTube watchers. And we'll come back with Wayspot of the Week and a couple of Call of the Weeks that I think are amazing. So let's run to break, and we'll be back after this. This is what I'm dealing with after work at midnight. Winter in Canada. I got stuck. So now I'm shoveling my driveway so that I can not be blocking the sidewalk. This all dropped since 8 o'clock. It's midnight, so 4 hours. And it was thundering earlier. Yeah. Thunderstorm during a snowstorm. Winter in Canada. Why do I live here?
Why was the avocado followed by the paparazzi? Because she was a guac star. What did the sad avocado say? It's a hard guac life for us. It's a hard guac life. Okay. What do you call an alligator that loves guacamole? A guacadile. What was Elvis's Mexican snack? The jailhouse guac, of course. What do you call an avocado in church? Holy guacamole. What did one avocado say to the other? Without you, I'm empty on the inside. How did the avocado feel the day after going to the gym? Hardcore. What did the avocado say to the fork? You guac my world.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I hope you love the dad jokes this week. They had a theme. If you picked up on the theme, let us know. Tweet at us. Let us know in the comments. And
there's one person in particular. I was talking to you.
Yes, it was. Those were definitely a treat for one person individual, and I'm pretty sure that they know who they are.
Yes, they do.
So let's go ahead and jump into Wayspot of the Week.
This is beautiful. Do you want me to take one?
Yeah, you take this one.
All right. So Wayspot of the Week this week. This is gorgeous, right? So this one comes from.
This is mine.
Oh,
this is one that I found.
That's right.
When
this
I was doing
comes from Glauhantajar. And it is it's in Spain. It's in La Granita. I don't know. It's from Spain. And it's graffiti okay. It's on YouTube. Essentially, it's. Let me go through and explain this, and let me do this a little bit of justice. So it's a mural. It's a 1-story building, and it's 4 people on a blue background, and they're from 4 different ethnicities, and they're holding up a rainbow as they're standing there, and there's kind of flowers around them, and l'amor es tan gran que no cap en un, and it's something that you want to see. Now, the only thing, Chris, that gave me a little bit of pause is the same picture for the main picture and the supporting information, but it's okay. Yeah. But it's, it's about respecting people respecting people who have differences and all working together. So I can kind of translate that a little bit from the broken Spanish that I know, but it's beautiful. So like I said, it's on a blue background. And it's people of, there's someone with darker skin, someone with lighter skin. There's 2 women. There's a guy with lighter skin, and it's on this kind of building. The background is blue, and there's a rainbow. And it's one of those ones that, like, I would walk by it, probably take a picture of it. I would definitely spin it once, and then I would wait until it regenerated, not spin it again. So that way I had 2 gifts. But it's beautiful. I wish I knew who the artist was so we could give them proper credit. But this was one that I would definitely 5-star when we came through. So good catch on that. Very good Wayspot of the week. And I think that's something that I enjoyed seeing in Spain and as well as all the other countries in Europe, just their creativity and the way that they called out people's differences and how they wanted people to work together and how they use art to get that message across. So chef's kiss on this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I when I saw this in my reviews, I saw that you're right. It was the same picture for both, but you could see it on Street View. So I was like, all right, cool, we're good.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's a couple murals that I came across that are really, really cool. And I'm just like, I looked at Street View and like I couldn't even find the building that it was on. I'm like,
you're like,
gorgeous, but I don't.
Yeah. You're kind of like, this might be across
cool.
town. Yeah.
It looks like it's Montellano 2022.
Yeah.
There's a name on there. I can't really make.
I couldn't see it. So yeah.
This is
all right. Should we go to the polar opposite of Wayspot of the week?
Let's do Coal of the Week. I've been working on the Wayfarer all the live long day. I've been working on the Wayfarer just to pass the... Oh no. Hey Jamal, I found some coal.
This one, Chris, is absolutely fantastic. And let me do this. Here is the coal of the week. Chris, I think you should take this one. You found this one. I think you should take this one. This is just absolutely this boggles the mind here.
This is a gem. This comes to us from Kelly in the Niantic Wayfarer Reviewers and Nominators Facebook group. And I came across it when I was in there asking about the oldest nominations. I was kind of scrolling through after I made my post, and I came across this, and I tagged you in, and I'm like, oh, we're using this. And a couple of people were like, show? What show are you talking about? So I gave them the link. So hopefully if you're new this week and you're listening this week because of this post, welcome.
Yes.
So what you're looking at is it looks like a carving into like a sidewalk. So it's probably in front of someone's house.
Yep.
It says 9E61, and that's the title of the Wayspot nomination is 9E61. So it's just carvings into, it's probably a house number, because what they've done is they've taken this picture upside down.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually 1936.
Which is probably when the sidewalk was put in.
Yeah.
Oh, and the best part,
it's probably 1936 is maybe the house number of where.
Yes, that too.
That's where this is. The address.
The best part of this is the description is code. The word code, like they're saying 9E61 code.
Code.
And it's one of those like, huh? What?
I understand what they were getting at, and they just it just didn't click in their brain.
I think someone was trying to be funny and didn't want us to realize that it's PRP, so they were trying to make a meme out of it, thinking that they could sneak it through as a meme. But I think the Wayspotters are smarter than that they kind of picked this one out for what it was meant to be. So
yeah, that was
cool.
Give me a good chuckle. I got a good chuckle out of this one.
I got a really good chuckle out of that when you posted it. I was like, ooh, wow, people are getting a little yeah. Yep.
And so let's do Call of the Week number 2. Call of the Week number 2, and I'll take this one too.
Okay,
comes to us from the aforementioned and host of season 1, Lachlan. Lachlan DM'd me on Discord. He's like, "Hey, I got some coal for you." And I was just like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And he's like, "Yeah, let's check all the boxes." So thank you, Lachlan, for this one.
Yep, thank you.
It is what you are looking at for our audio listeners is a Starbucks, and we love our Starbucks nominations. First of all, because they're not eligible,
right?
It's a chain business. And they have sponsored ones anyway. So this is probably a new build that'll eventually get its own stop once they sort out the sponsorships and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like what makes this so much worse is that it is just taken from a car. And it's I always say it's not that far. Get out of your car.
You sure do.
It's taken through the front windshield. It's not like they even try to take it through the side window and maybe caught a little bit of like the side panel or whatever,
the mirror or something.
On.
This is just someone sitting in the driver's seat and they're just taking the picture, and they're not even close to the Starbucks. They're like 20, 25 meters away from it. So you can barely even see the Starbucks in the distance.
I think what happened here, if I had to guess, they were waiting in line at the drive-thru. Because sometimes them Starbucks drive-thru lines can get pretty long. So that's probably what they were like, oh, I'm going to nominate this. And they clicked a couple of pictures. Because you can see the second one's from a little bit of a different angle. So they probably moved up one car length to now for the supporting photo.
Yes. Oh, that's so good.
Full-on dashboard.
Yes, I was going to say, are you nominating the dashboard or are you nominating that bush right there? Because I can barely see the Starbucks.
This is not to quote my wife's favorite movie, Grease. This is nominations by the dashboard light.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that. Awesome.
Terrible. That's what I'm going to name the short, nominations by a dashboard light.
There you go. I love it. I absolutely love it.
All right. I think that is a show.
I think so. I got nothing else. I'm going to save everything else for next week, so we don't have another hour and a half show.
We are down to an hour again, so thank you all for bearing with us for the last couple of episodes that were a little bit longer. I think they kind of needed to be, but it's nice to get down to under an hour.
Chris, can I say one thing before you sign us off?
Absolutely.
If you didn't get a chance to listen to our show last week with Little Pound Cake, go back and listen to it. There's been a lot of negativity going on in the community about people getting banned, and I think we've covered that. I'm literally blue in the face after covering it, so I was excited not to cover it this week. But if you are kind of late to the game and you still want some information about that, go back and either watch our video from last week or listen to the show from last week. We had Pound Cake on and kind of talked about it, and I think we got to the point where we are kind of done with that subject now. We're still interacting with people offline, but as far as a topic, I don't plan to cover it unless something new comes up. But if you have questions about it, go back and watch our show from last week.
Absolutely. 100%. I will put the link up in there. I always point to the wrong corner. All right. With that, I will sign us off. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Wayspotters. We really appreciate it. A big thank you to our executive producer, KatettheKonz, and all of our patrons. We could not do this without you. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this episode of Wayspotters, there are a few ways you can show us. Follow us on our socials. We are on Twitter at Wayspotters. We are also on Instagram at Wayspotters Podcast and on TikTok at I Make Wayspots. We are incredibly responsive and love interacting with our followers. Let us know what you thought about today's episode and let us know what you think about all of our episodes. You can visit us on our website, www.wayspotters.com, From there, you can get the links to everywhere you can download the show. You can also send us a message directly from the website, or you can email us, wayspotters@pokemonprofessor.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, and click the bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. For those of you who are not, be sure to check us out. We post shorts for the dad jokes, Wayspot of the week, Coal of the week, and our entire episode catalog from, I think, 65 is up on YouTube. So you can go back 65. And watch all the old episodes. That is at youtube.com/@Wayspotters podcast. You can also leave us a voicemail on our hotline, 704-426-3710, or tweet us a voice message. You never know, your voicemail may appear on an upcoming episode of the show. Finally, if you're not a member of the Pokemon Professor Network Patreon, you can join for as little as $1 US a month. That is $135 Canadian, $7.82 in Hong Kong, $1.55 in Australia, 82 pence in the UK, 17.21 Mexican pesos, and I think it's 11 kroner now. So we would definitely love to have you as a Patreon. You will get access to the Discord for the entire family of shows across the Pokemon Professor Network, including Wayspotters, Special Conditions, Gotta Watch 'Em All, Purified Podcast, and Lured Up. It's a fantastic place filled with fantastic people. Jamal and I are active in that Discord all the time. So come hang out. Just go to patreon.com/Pokemon Professor. With that, we look forward to you joining us. We look forward to you With that, we look forward to you joining us again next week here on Wayspotters. We appreciate all of the support we get each week. We could not do this without you. And remember, it's not that far. Get out of your car.